HER2-negative MBC community with Ibrance, palbociclib. All medical
People, liberty, the challenges.
Brand. It's made with only
on the job.
Guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Subject to change.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here today with our guest from Grant's season, Carolina. Welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Thank you, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All is well.
All is
Feeling
well.
better?
Where you were? Yeah. Now that the season's finally officially done.
Yes.
All right. Well, where should we? Let's start because you haven't been on our podcast, so we haven't had a chance to talk to you during the season. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
How did you get on the show?
Yeah.
I got on the show because I saw. It's funny because my best friends always wanted me to go on the show. We've always watched the show, and they're all married, and I'm the one that's not. But I always figured like applying would be such a like hassle, and nothing would get read. Like it just seemed like this long form. And I saw this like a sponsored ad on Instagram, and it was like casting person saying like, "Oh, let me know if you want to apply." So I just DM'd him, did not expect anything from it, and it just moved super quickly.
Wow.
Where do you live?
I live in LA.
Okay, so you go on the show, you get casted. What are your initial thoughts? Are you excited, nervous, hesitant at all?
So I was excited. I felt like, it felt like a right fit. It felt like Grant would be a good match with me. I knew that he had lived he had played basketball in Puerto Rico and the DR. So I knew that he had that in him, and I watched one of his interviews on the Bio Files, and I was like, oh, he seems really emotionally intelligent. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a very anxious person. And it felt like I felt at ease. Sorry,
Okay.
I kind of yapped a little bit there.
You're good.
You're
It's
perfect.
a podcast. Yap all you want. You felt at ease because you thought you and Grant would mesh well?
I felt that we would mesh well, and I felt that me and production would mesh well. It just felt like harmonious. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a good word for it. So going on to the show, what is your dating history, and where are you at kind of in your dating life, your journey entering The Bachelor?
So I had only had 2 serious relationships prior to the show. One of them was like the healthy kind of love when I was younger, and it was like a few years, and it didn't work out, but it wasn't anything negative or traumatizing or anything bad. And then my second serious relationship was the DJ that I mentioned that everyone seemed to think was hilarious. And that one was pretty bad. But I learned a lot about what I want and what I don't want. And it sounds super cheesy to say, but I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I've always heard that typically you have like 3 loves in your life. You have like the puppy love, the one that gives you the heartbreak and the lessons, and then you find your person. And I just felt really ready for that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I was at.
Okay, nice.
And then what are your initial thoughts stepping out of the limo and seeing Grant in person for the first time?
So everyone had asked me like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No, I got this in the bag. Like I'm gonna be confident. It's gonna be fine." No, I got so nervous. I knew that my little bit was gonna be like in Spanish, but I didn't think it all the way through because I thought he was gonna be like laughing at me because he didn't get it. But I think he wanted to be respectful, so he was like, but I could tell that the joke wasn't landing, And I'm like, "Oh my God, like he hates me. I'm going home." Yeah, it was awkward, but
Oh no,
we made it through.
It didn't. Watching it as an audience member, it didn't feel awkward, but we also had subtitles, so I felt like viewing
That's
it, we were
true,
like in
yeah.
on the joke with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I also like said the same thing twice. Maybe with the subtitles you can't tell. But wait, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My dogs are deciding to not behave right now. One sec. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
You're good. This is not
okay.
the first puppy interruption we have had.
Yeah, I mean, I used to podcast with Tia,
Okay.
and her dog interrupted us every time. Okay. Okay. Grant was physically, is he your type?
Yes. Well, okay. I don't really have a type because if you look at my dating history, like everyone looks super different. But I thought he was really attractive.
Okay, that's good. That's
Okay.
a
Yeah.
good start.
And then walk us through your first conversation with him, night one.
It was really sweet. I still felt awkward though. You're not used to dating someone on camera, so you have like these like bright lights on you, and it's like you feel like you know a little bit about this person, but they know nothing about you, and you don't know how much you want to share. You don't want to get too deep on night one, and it was never my intention to tear up on night one. But our conversation just started flowing, and my dad had just recently gone through a health scare, and that's why that was really heavy on my mind. And it was just really sweet, and
So your first conversation, you felt like went well. It's obviously the most overwhelming is night one, cameras, lights. It's like kind of a jarring experience. And obviously you got
but I was in my
emotional.
head. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I think
I was
it's
so
easy
in
to
my
be.
head. I was so in my head. I was like, because you see the sweet moments, but there was definitely like a where someone's like, so like, what are your hobbies? And you're like, oh, this is not going well. Like
Yeah.
when you have to ask that, it's like such a
Yeah.
like filler question. You're like, he hates me. I'm going home. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, I mean, I was in my head constantly on that show.
Yeah, but that's interesting to
yeah.
hear because I feel like watching night one back, if we were to name a couple people that seemed to have like a really good first conversation, it seemed very natural. But you felt like you were like, oh my gosh, I don't know how that went. Maybe I'm going home tonight. Like you didn't feel confident you were getting a rose.
No, not at all. And by the way, people are saying like she's so dramatic, she's like shaking. I wasn't shaking of nerves though. It was really cold, but I did feel that way on the inside. I'm like my name wasn't called until like the middle, which is so dramatic of me to already be assuming that I'm just going home. But I was like, it's not me. It's not me. Like it's just not happening.
Okay, so let's jump to I forgot exactly the group date, but it was the group date where you danced with Grant, and I feel like that was kind of the start of
Yes.
everything for
Yeah.
you,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just in the moment and like right after, how did you feel that interaction or that moment went with Grant?
With Grant, I thought it was great. Like the dancing portion, we were just like talking and laughing the whole time, like because I didn't know what I was doing. And it was really sweet. And yeah, we just had a lot of fun. And I finally felt like I really clicked with him. Like I was still in my head about the first night. Because the first night you're really just trying to like not get sent home because you know that you're not going to be able to establish that strong connection right away. So it's kind of like I felt like if I got sent home night one, it would have sucked because he didn't know the real me, if that makes sense. Like at that point, I was like, okay, we're really building something and he's seeing like who I really am.
So you're starting to feel more secure in the relationship, probably also.
Yeah, and I just think that like I was so nervous like day one, and this time we were just having fun. So I felt more at ease.
Future health. Or even have to set
Or MBC offer trouble breathing. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor.
6-action plan.
with unlimited same-day delivery.
Security specialists are in high demand.
Let's talk about
Career.edu/CWP.
Okay, so then while he was dancing with you, he was thinking of Rose. So let's talk about we need to talk about that because that was probably that was like the biggest storyline of the show. I mean, we've talked
Can we
about
go?
it on-
Can we backtrack real quick?
Yeah.
Sure,
I
where?
I just want it to be known that the crowd was screaming, kiss, kiss, kiss. So to me, it really felt like it's like a performance, like we're joking with it, we're having fun. And that is why I felt so bad because I was like, it felt like we were all such great friends up until this point. And I just remember even from night one, everyone was talking about how they kissed him and whatever. And it felt like it was just like girly pop chat. Like no one's that invested yet. And I was insecure because I didn't kiss him. And so I was just like, whatever, like we're having fun. It's like I meant it, but it was like a performative, like it was, so that's kind of why I felt so bad after the fact because it was like, wait, oh, like, oops.
Yeah, you kissed him in front of the entire group, but also like.
But when a crowd
You
is
were
chanting,
you were
kiss, kiss,
supposed-
kiss,
yeah,
like,
you were
what do you do?
supposed-
No, like, stay shy and not do it. Like,
And it happens every season. Like, you are not the first girl to kiss him in front of the rest of the girls on a group date.
yeah. I
Okay.
will say, and I can admit the straddling was a lot, but I will, in my defense, and I am sorry to everyone, I remember when I was with him from night one, I was like, I don't know how I'm ever gonna kiss this guy because my dresses are tight and like I'm never like I'm like awkwardly like it felt like this is like I'm wearing pants. This is the one time that I could get comfortable to kiss him because that was another thing that I was so terrified of kissing him on camera and it being so awkward. So yeah.
Because you were like
Sorry.
in a little mini, like
And a
kinda
little
like
and like
lean.
he's so tall and you're like you know like it's just yeah.
Okay, so okay, so let's talk about like
Let's talk about the night portion of that date.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we go to the night portion. Energy is a little off. You've kissed him. You've had a little extra dance time. The girls are not feeling so hot. Tell us how that night unfolded for you.
So right after we danced, I had noticed that the girls seemed like off, but I thought everyone was tired or I tried my very best throughout this whole process to not make assumptions. So I was like, maybe they're just like tired and I get it. Like I'm tired too. And they were just standing there for a while. Like at least I had like the adrenaline going up like dancing. So, I did pick up on that, but then it felt like everything was fine. We change and I was only with one girl and she was happy and seemed normal. So like walking in, I didn't realize that anything was off. Like I felt like walking in, everyone looked fine again and like energized or rejuvenated. Or I don't know what word I'm looking for. So that's why I was like, wait, so you guys are frustrated. Like
Did
damn,
they say
okay.
did they say yes to that? Were they like, we are, and did you guys talk about it?
Well, that's also where my frustration comes in. There was one comment that was made that was like, yeah, we are frustrated, but like, because we all tried so hard. But see, we're such great friends that we didn't make you feel like we were. And for someone to say that, I was like, well, then let me tell you that you're a great, like, you're kind of like backtracking and by letting me know that you're not making me feel bad. Like, do you want me to give you like brownie points for that? And that was where I felt that like, oh, okay. Damn, this is going to be a conversation that keeps happening all throughout the night because that's what it seemed like. And people were coming back from their conversations with him saying like, yep, we talked about that. And so that's why I was like, why is everyone like focusing on me? Like, I really am sorry. I didn't mean to like hurt anyone, but also we knew that it was a competition and that someone was going to win the time. Like, it wasn't like he decided to not give somebody else attention. It was like, we knew it was a competition. And so someone had to win.
Yeah.
Did you
So-
express that?
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think like I left that night thinking that we were good. Like I did not, to me, it didn't feel as dramatic from the group as it did from one person. So I thought it was one person that started the train of the conversations going a certain direction. And it felt like it was all like we were all over it by the next day.
So, do you feel like that night the frustration was more about the situation, or do you feel like it was really about you? And where did you feel like your relationship with the girls stood kind of leaving that night?
Leaving that night, I felt awkward, but it didn't feel like it was the start of drama. Like I think
Okay,
they were
so you
even,
felt like it was like a tough night, but like
Yeah.
we're gonna move past this.
yeah, it felt like the girls were saying like, look, we were forced to watch you do that, but we're not gonna like really hold it against you. Like, yeah, it sucked, but it seemed like we were fine. So my frustration was more about one girl starting a train of like, damn, does this completely invalidate like all the good times that I just had? Like, I want us all to be support. Like, I'm not always going to win the competition. So I want to be able to like be happy for the person that wins the next time. Because that's how competition is. So it was like, your feelings are valid, but it's also like, oh, but like that sucks, She
Yeah.
also had said on the way there that if there was any drama that we should try to address it with each other because of what had happened with the basketball date rather than bring it up with Grant. And I was like, that's a great plan. So it felt kind of like, wait, so you said this and then you're like dragging me into something. I don't know. It just felt icky.
Yeah, your hope was that everything could get resolved
Mhm.
amongst the girls and not have Grant get involved.
Yeah, that was always the goal for me. Oops.
Okay, so let's now jump to what was it really seemed like the story of the season, which was the conversation that happened off camera with you and
Rose and Latia.
Rose and Latia, correct?
Latia wasn't in the first part of that conversation.
Okay.
When
So-
when she said what Grant said, it was me, Rose, and Dina in the
Okay.
room.
Okay. Do you want to walk us through that conversation?
Yeah.
Sure. I was expressing to them because we had already discussed. So Rose had already told me that Grant did the exact same thing for her and for Latia on the finance date. So we were kind of like, how much of this is Grant versus how much of this is forced on him to do certain things, but then how much is real and how much can we trust?
Wait, by exact same thing, what are you referring to?
I don't know what it was because they never even aired it, but I guess he like did like some grand gesture for them
Okay, like on their one-on-one time later
During-
that night.
on the either the basketball date or the finance date. I don't remember.
Okay.
So finance because they were So
Okay, so you guys are kind of piecing together in this moment, like Grant is saying and doing some of the same things for all of us.
yeah, for them too. And I had just gotten back from my one-on-one and we were just kind of like, so what, how much, like, we know we signed up for a TV show, but like, what is real and what's like performative and how much of that is his choice and like how much, and I mean, on my one-on-one, Grant said a lot. And you have to keep in mind that like for me opening up the way that I did, that's not something that I talk about with anyone. Like I knew that I was going to open up for not just him, but for the world. And it was only something that I was willing to do if I felt really good about him in the moment because it is really scary for me. And we can talk about that some more later if you want. But I have this like amazing date and the guy is super into me, it seems. And unfortunately, once I finish my epilepsy story, it like wraps up like that. And it's like, you got to go. And I'm like, wait, but what about you? Like, I want to know you. I want to know more about your story. I want to like connect more. And I also don't want it to come across as if I'm ungrateful. Like the plane is great. The jumping out of something is great. But I even told him like, this isn't real life. Like I want to have more conversations with you. That's all I really care about. And so we didn't have the time to do that. And then I get back home. Sorry, I feel like I'm literally going in circles again.
No,
No,
you're
you're
just
good. We're
telling
following.
your story, but Okay, so then going back to the conversation after your one-on-one, you have a conversation with Rose, things are said. Can you kind of break down that situation for us?
Yeah, so Rose had told me that Grant did the exact same thing for her and Latia. And, he was saying a lot to me on my one-on-one. I'm piecing it all together because in the moment when you're living it, you're kind of like so happy and then you haven't really processed it. So I'm processing all of this in real time with Rose, who's telling me, he did the same thing for her and Latia. And then he was also saying a lot to Dina. And we were both like, damn, like this is crazy. And I will say, she did say, should we keep going or are we gonna hurt each other? And I was like, no, let's help each other, like not fall for anything, like if this guy's like playing us, tell me.
Future health, weight loss.
Want to lose 10 pounds in a month? Then you need to go to futurehealth.com for easy, affordable access to weight loss meds like Ozempic, Zepbound, and oral semaglutide if you don't like injections. A new report shows that Future Health customers are getting 58% better results than just taking meds like Ozempic alone, and with fewer side effects. That means instead of losing 35 pounds, you could lose over 45 pounds with Future Health. And here's the best part. You don't need insurance, and you never even have to set foot in a doctor's office. It's all done from the comfort of your own home with their licensed clinicians. Just take the 3-minute quiz at futurehealth.com. Get approved today and have your meds delivered in as little as 48 hours. Visit futurehealth.com. That's
ACE inhibitor is for adults with H1 prescribed
Circle 360. Visit
Qualify. Learn more at
derived nicotine salt. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I don't think that Rose just pulled that out of thin air. I think she really thought he said that. And it was obviously very concerning, and it's not something that I can let slide. Like, if this guy is disrespecting me like that, I don't want to be a part of it. And I really, really didn't want to get her involved in the drama. I tried my best. I feel really bad that I did. I tried to protect her identity. And when I left my conversation with Grant, it felt like, I mean, that's another thing. He told me he wasn't going to look into it. He told me he told me, I'm going to protect you. I'm not going to look into it. Because I told him, I know you're probably frustrated. We can discuss it later on if you really need to. I promise you, this person has no bad intentions. She's not just, it was just miscommunication. And I was telling him, I was coming at him from a place of, you're doing a lot and saying a lot to a lot of people, even to me. And I even told him, because I was still trying to protect him, I was like, you whispered something in my ear during our one-on-one. I didn't even want to repeat it on camera to protect him. But you're doing a lot, and I need to be able to trust you. And I'm kind of, and I felt so good and so like, wow, that's a man when he's like, you're fine. I'm going to protect you. I'm not going to look into it. Like, it's fine. I was like, oh, that is like, that's hot. Okay. I'm sold. And, then he comes and finds me, apologizes for going to Rose because he figured it out. And I'm like, damn, like, I'm frustrated, but I get why you had to do it. I just wish next time you could like tell me ahead of time before you drag me into it. Like, and then I come back in the house, and minutes later, Chloe's crying because he told her about the drama, and now the whole house knows. And so not only did he make a promise that he couldn't keep and went to Rose, he now brought it to the entire house, knowing that I was really scared that it would lead to drama. So I was really disappointed.
Okay, so, but when you left that conversation with Rose, what was agreed upon between both of you? Was there no understanding? Did you say like, hey, I won't repeat this, you won't repeat this?
No.
Okay, so what?
So we kind of made jokes like, oh, we're gonna protect each other, and like Dina and Rose like giggled, and I tried giggling too, but it really was still sitting with me. It was a pit in my stomach feeling. And had I told her that I wasn't going to repeat it, I would never. Like, my word means everything to me. And I remember thinking like, I hope she doesn't ask me to not bring it up, because I don't know how to move forward without it. And I was like, I need to sit with it and think about how I can not betray her, but still find the answers that I need. And I went to bed trying to like pretend that everything was fine, but it wasn't. And the next morning, you can ask anyone, like, I really had like a pit in my stomach feeling. I was like I was so anxious, I thought I was just going to go home, because I believed her.
Mm-hmm. Looking back on that night specifically, is there anything you wish you had done differently? And is there anything you wish Grant had done differently that you feel like could have allowed the situation to unfold in a better way?
I wish Grant had stuck to his word. I wish Grant had, my frustration with Grant is like, don't make promises you can't keep. Like, if he had just told me, hey, I need to address it with Rose, we could have both gone and addressed it with her. I think, I do feel really bad. I feel really, really bad that Rose was dragged into it. I really tried to protect her. I thought I did a good enough job. Like, I walked away from that conversation thinking he doesn't know who it is. When he's listing names, I'm like, no, but stop, because I didn't want him to. There's a moment when someone says like, is it this person? You're like, I'm not going to tell you. It kind of sounds like you are. And I definitely didn't want to like attribute it to someone who wasn't it. But I'm like, no, but stop right now. Like, I didn't want him to keep going down the list. And I also didn't realize that there were two people that had been on that date who had already left. So in the moment, I think in my head, I'm picturing the date and I'm thinking there's still other people that it could have been. It just felt like he doesn't know and he's okay with it. And I'm walking away with it with the resolution that I needed. And I didn't let my friend down. And, that was that. So I do wish, sorry, go ahead.
Looking back on it now, do you wish you would have told Rose, like, hey, this is affecting me, and if I talk to Grant, I may bring it up. Do you wish you would have given her that heads up?
I wish, no, I wish I could have done a better job of protecting her. I I felt like if I told her that I wanted to bring it up, she would have asked me not to. And again, I can't commit to something and then not follow through. So I wouldn't have been able to tell her I won't do it and then do it anyway. And I was just I really, really wanted to protect her and I didn't want to stress her out and have her think it's gonna get back to me. Like, I thought I was gonna be able to pull it off. I really did.
So in your ideal world, it would have been like, bring it to Grant and it ends there. Like, you have your one conversation with Grant and like Rose's name never gets brought up and you guys like air it out between you two and then it's done.
Initially, I was so confident that she said was right that I was gonna like walk up to him and be like, I'm done. Like, I'm not even discussing it. Like, I want to leave this show right now. Like, I'm over it. But then I let it sit with me and I was like, I'm thinking it all through and I'm like, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. And what I'm assuming might have happened is he may have said it in a way to like pacify the situation from that group date where everyone was upset. But what I was letting him know was, if it is me at the end of all of this, I don't want to watch it back and be humiliated. And I said those exact words to him. If you did say this, even if you didn't mean it, even if now you feel different because now you're more into me or whatever it is, like, I don't want to watch this back and be humiliated. I want a man that like stands by his word and doesn't have to like bring me down to lift someone else up. But I also thought maybe he didn't mention my name. Maybe he was just trying to, so in giving him that benefit of the doubt, that's kind of like all I wanted to do. And I hope that that's not what he had said to someone.
What do you believe? What do you think really happened? Do you think he said it? Or do you
I don't think he mentioned my name from what we saw in that clip. But I do think that Rose was valid in thinking what she did because he's saying, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was thinking about you. And it kind of sounds like, oh, like, I'm not going to pretend that I was into her because I was thinking about you.
Well, I don't know. That's very different. Like, if Grant said, like, I was thinking about you on the date, that's very different from saying, I was thinking about you while I was dancing with Carolina. Like, those are...
Yeah, but I feel like watching the clip, I can see where the
I see both
miscommunication
sides.
happened.
I see both sides. And that's what I wanted to believe. And I was like, I can see both sides, but I also think that Grant is saying weird things to too many people. And I'm just trying to tell him, like, you can do things and reassure other people without doing too much and being disrespectful. And that's what I really wanted to clear the air with.
Do you feel like you had a sense of anxiety or paranoia about the way Grant was moving after this incident with Rose and Grant?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's frustrating because Rose wasn't mad at me that night. She was mad at him and she came crying to me and we talked about it in the room and I don't know why she changed her story later. And it's valid though.
So Rose wasn't mad at you after she found out you said that to Grant? She was fine.
No, she came to me like, no, she wasn't fine. She was crying, but we went up to her room to talk about it.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whatever. And she's like, no, like, I don't even know if I want to be here. So it was kind of like both of us like talking about him and I was like, oh, damn. And that's already a red flag for me too, because it's kind of like, if you're not treating Rose well and if you're not treating the other women well, then like, why? Like, that's still a red flag for me, right? Like, I want a guy who's going to be respectful to everyone. There was just a lot going on in my mind that I was just like, can I trust this guy? And I was crucified for that.
So
No, go ahead.
I was
gonna
gonna say,
let's move on from Rose.
So I was, jumping from Rose because we kind of see that unfolds and then we see Rose goes home the following week. Let's move on to your conversation with Juliana. Can you just walk us through, Juliana pulls you outside. It seems like you are unassuming of like what is about to happen, what she's pulling you aside for. And we see she wants to address kind of your behavior in the house and how it's affecting the other women. Were you surprised by this conversation, or did you have a sense of like there was turmoil in the house surrounding your relationships a little bit?
I was surprised about the topic of the conversation. I was not surprised that Juliana was trying to stir the pot,
Okay.
which is why I was like trying to shut it down. I was like, you're not going to catch me fighting another woman on TV. Like, I was just like, this, I'm bored. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. She said, I believe on your podcast that she lost her cool when the Rose situation happened. And she did. So after the Rose situation, Juliana came at Rose while Rose was already crying right after that Rose ceremony. And she's like in front of everyone, she's calling her out. Like, she should have like talked to Grant directly, blah, blah, blah. And I had to step in and defend Rose and be like, if anything, blame me. But like, why are we doing this? Let's not fight with women. Like, it's going to be fine. Like, let's move on. So, I never had like a friendship with Juliana. So when she pulled me, I was like, okay, what's this going to be about? And yeah, it just felt like it was performative. I feel like at the hotel, we could have talked about it. We could have had a civil conversation the same way that me and Rose did. Me and Rose didn't feel like we were trying to create drama for a TV show. It felt like we were friends. And with Juliana, I was like, you could, and I told her this, I was like, you could have addressed this at the hotel. You don't have to be doing this like for show. And the way that she approached it is she comes up to me and she's like, I'm just going to keep it real because we've been talking shit about you. And I just want you to know before it airs. So that's why I'm like, okay, so what is your question? Like, I don't even know. You're not trying to have a conversation with me. You're trying to, I don't know if it's like assert dominance or have like this hero like arc or something that you're protecting Grant. It just felt like it came out of left field and her saying
it seemed like that because I remember that conversation and being like, what did we just watch? Like, what was,
and I just didn't
like
understand because you also watch it with the interviews, so you know what they're saying or they're thinking going into it. But like when she's coming at me and saying that they're talking shit about me, I'm like, about what? Like, and then she's like, well, you have like doubts about being here. And I'm like, well, the thing is like, and you guys know how this works. In the real world, you don't talk about your relationship with a guy with the same girls that are dating him. Like, but here we have to, right? And so I was like, how am I being negative by being neutral, by saying I do like him, but I still have questions. I still need to get to know him more. I still like, I feel like that's always been a part of the show. Like part of the show is struggling with getting to know the guy while he's still spending time with other women. And it was like, what do you mean I'm negative? Like, what is, I wasn't seeing like where it was coming from. So I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the women were it was just like Carolina has gotten time with him and she's not appreciative and she's complaining and doesn't want to be here or doesn't think this is working. Meanwhile, none of us have gotten time, right? Like that was kind of the whole
that seemed
issue.
to be the general argument from the women.
Yeah.
And
but
where
I
do you
think
stand on that?
Well, I just think that like just like Grant didn't know who he wanted to be with, and that's fair. Like it seems so like I don't know, like embarrassing, anti-feminist to be like, I'm going to bow down to this man because he's the bachelor and have no doubts about him because he's the bachelor. So like at this moment, I remember asking Juliana, I was like, so you mean to tell me that if he proposed to you, you can absolutely say that you will say yes? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then I'm sad for you because you haven't even been on a one-on-one. So how can you know that you want to be with the guy? Like, I don't think, it's a whole process. And even that whole process is really short. It's a short amount of time to get married, to get engaged to someone. But like, we still had more time to go. So I wasn't saying, I hate the guy, I don't want to be here. I was saying, I feel like I need more time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop the interview. Everyone, please stay tuned because we will be doing part 2 with Carolina. Thank you for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Yeah, and be sure to tune into part 2. Thanks for listening. Bye.